Well, hey everybody, Mike Griffith here. Welcome to Friday Night Mike, night before Halloween, and Georgia plays at Kentucky tomorrow. I'm here in Athens, not going to that game. No thanks. Kroger Field is a nice place. The last time I was there, 2018, it was hopping. It was great. It was the essentially SEC East championship game. Remember that? Remember that 2018 game up there when Kentucky had Benny Snell and the Wildcats just knew that they were ready to seize the East Division, and Georgia just went up there and ran the ball down their throats. DeAndre Swift was amazing. Jake Fromm was efficient. The defense was brutal, absolutely put the clamps down on Kentucky. It was a great win. And then there was last year. And the most notable thing about last year's game was that the Georgia fans booed. They booed at halftime. It was a torrential rainstorm. It was 0-0, and neither team could throw the football. And everybody was upset. And Georgia ended up winning 21-0. Swift had some more dynamic runs. DeAndre Swift, the last 2 years, really had Kentucky's number. And it's funny, I did a radio show not too long ago with some Kentucky station in Lexington. And they said, tell us about that great win that, all those great running backs that Georgia's had. And I said, well, really, Swift's been the guy, and we really haven't seen that this year. And I did some notes on that through the week. I did a lot of notes. You can see I write stuff down. I research stuff. This is the statistic that really bothers me about Georgia football right now. You've got to go 288 carries by running backs since you had a Georgia running back break for more than 26 yards. 288 carries, and nobody has broke a run longer than 26 yards. You got to go back to last year's Kentucky game to find the last time that a Georgia running back had a touchdown run of 30 yards or more. And I look at this and I go, this is wrong. This is preposterous. How does this happen? Is it that the wide receivers aren't? No, it's not. You got to put the ball in some guys' hands that can break some runs. So what am I looking for tomorrow? I'm wanting to see Kendall Milton get the football. I don't know if Kenny McIntosh is healthy. I think he is. Kirby said he was back at practice. Remember, McIntosh hurt the knee on a kickoff return against Alabama. Those kickoff returns, I know Alabama fans are mad, but Jalen Waddle, they're not the same team without this guy. This is an explosive. You can't take the best, most explosive playmaker off the team and say, oh yeah, we're going to be fine. You're not going to be as good. And it's going to change the way teams defend Alabama. I know some people have gotten all angry. Well, you got to put your best guys back there. Do you? Because in the NFL, they only dress 48 guys a game. And they don't have their best players back there. Okay, I got news for you. They got return specialists. You know what return specialists are? They're running backs and wide receivers that aren't good enough to start. That's a return specialist in the NFL. You want to know who would really be good back there? Guys like Ezekiel Elliott. He'd be great. You know what? He's too valuable. Jerry Rice probably would have been he's too valuable. And every now and then, you get a freakish, talented guy like a Deion Primetime Sanders. But it's few and far between where you're going to see any players of real value back there on the return team in the NFL. And I contend that you need to be careful at Georgia. Now Kirby will say, well, we put our best guys. You know what? DeAndre Swift wasn't back there the last 2 years. He wasn't. And if you go back to 2017, Chubb and Michelle weren't back there. So yeah, you put some pretty good guys back there, but not the best, all right? Right now at Georgia, there is no best running back. And Kirby talked about that rotation of Zamir White and Kendall Milton and Kenny McIntosh and James Cook. And he said, if one of those guys was that much better than the rest, then you'd know he'd be out there more often. And we kind of saw that with Swift, right? Swift was the predominant guy last year. This year, it's just not that obvious. And there's now Zamir's been the favored guy, all right? And you see these stats, and I don't like to shoot holes in them, but you need to be aware. Well, he's got all the touchdowns. Well, Zamir's had 14 out of the 15 carries inside the 10. The Georgia coaches are trying to set him up to get I get it. He's a junior. He's a team leader. He's worked hard. But at some point, you got to put the moose in. And that's kind of what I call Milton. I like calling him the moose. And it happened, I was writing Milton Loose, and I said, Moose. And I looked up Moose, and it said about how Moose can run by you or run over you. And I put it on Twitter, and I tagged his dad. I said, does he got a nickname? Because I think he's kind of like a moose. Because Milton can absolutely truck you, and I think he can run by you. We'll see. Maybe it's too early for a nickname, but I like Milton. I'm impressed by him. I had questions about Milton's high school football in Northern California. Could it translate? Could he be physical enough? And I saw what I needed. I saw the first clue was against Auburn. And it wasn't a big run or anything, but there was contact at the line. This Auburn D lineman, this 285, 290-pound guy hit him. And the guy just fell off him, and Milton just kept going. And I'm like, it's like Milton had Kevlar, or like a superhero, like that shouldn't happen. A 285, 290-pound tackle hits you and a running back, and he falls down, and you keep going. Okay, there's some scientific principles that I didn't study well enough in physics class here, but that shouldn't happen unless this running back has power and balance. So that was the first clue. Then the Tennessee game. Remember that 11-yard carry where he gets hit and kind of bounces back and then he goes forward? And I counted it. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 Tennessee guys hit him before he goes down. Not exaggerating. Okay, you guys know, I'm not one to exaggerate. 9 guys hit him before he went down on that. And I said, holy cow, this guy. And then against Alabama, it's 24 yards up the middle. That's the longest run of the season. Through 4 games, 24 yards is the longest run. Okay, so forget everything you know about the Georgia run game. The longest run of the year is 24 yards this year. All right? Give that guy the ball. Give that guy the ball. You heard my statistic. 288 carries since a running back had a run longer than 26 yards. And Kendall goes for 24. Give that guy the ball. This isn't complicated. Well, the pass. Stop it. Just stop. Give him the ball. I understand everybody likes Zamir White. I get it. Zeus. I get it. Overcame 2 knees. Okay. He was the number 1 prospect coming out of high school. He ain't the number 1 guy now. He ain't even the number 1 guy on your own team. So Zamir will continue to get better. He'll continue to get carries. He'll get back in a groove. He'll carve out a role. But you need a dynamic runner at Georgia. And we haven't seen it in a while. Swift got injured against Georgia Tech and was essentially a no-show for the SEC championship game. You didn't have a chance in that game. Swift was special, but nobody else. McIntosh didn't get many opportunities last year. He had a 62-yard carry. Didn't see enough of him. I still think Kenny can be special. James Cook, right? 4 catches, 101 yards in the first half against Alabama. Didn't have a catch in the second half. I mean, what's going on, right? So we've got a lot of questions about this game, about Georgia football. And I know some people are looking at it like, it's just Kentucky. Florida's next week. Okay, well, let me tell you, there's going to be a lot of clues in this game about Georgia football moving forward. There's going to be some clues. Will there be a quarterback change moving? Maybe. I'm not predicting it, but I'm not going to say that there won't be a quarterback change. But here's what we need to find out tomorrow about Georgia football. First of all, understand this. Kentucky has a better defense than average, all right? I know they just got beat by Missouri and outrushed 220 to 90 or whatever. Give Missouri some credit. Kentucky's not a world beater, but they got a decent defense. So here's my question. Is Kentucky going to drop that safety down into the box and challenge Stetson Bennett to beat them downfield? And can they slow Georgia down? Alabama shut Georgia out in the second half. Now, Alabama's got talent on defense, but I think we would agree that's not their forte, okay? They shut out Georgia in the second half. Georgia scored 0 points on CBS in a nationally televised showdown in a 2 versus 3 game, and Georgia scored 0 points in 30 minutes. 0 points in 30 minutes. Do you know how far? You've got to go back to last year's Kentucky game to find a half where Georgia got shut out. And it was a torrential downpour in that game, okay? 0 points in 30 minutes. That's horrible. That's terrible. There were 2 interceptions. It wasn't good. Kirby went back to the drawing board. He gave Stetson all the number 1 reps during the bye week, he said. He took a longer look at JT and Dwan Mathis. Well, I hope so. So let's see what happens. They've given Stetson all the 1 work. He's gotten all the opportunities. This is his 4th start. He's getting all the work with the number 1s. And they're putting everything into it. They're talking about teaching him to use 2 hands on the ball, make better decisions. Okay, better see some results because Florida's on deck, all right? I didn't want to bring it up because I know they're focused on. But Florida's scoring touchdowns 80% of the time they're in the red zone. You know what Georgia's scoring? 58% of the time they're scoring touch decline button there. Love Cole Kubelik. He's got the game call tomorrow with the SEC Network. He's a buddy of mine. I did his radio show in Huntsville forever. I do his 3-man front radio show in Birmingham every Monday at 2:30 Eastern. And we talk a lot. And he's a very knowledgeable guy about line play. I know he likes Kentucky's line. Wish he would have called me a half an hour ago. I could have got some juice from him. He's already up there in Lexington, right? So I'll have to call Cole back later. But what was I talking about? Oh, we were talking about Georgia and how they kicked too many field goals in the red zone compared with, let's see, I looked these other teams up. I didn't look up all the teams. For all I know, so Florida has 15 red zone trips and 12 touchdowns. That's 80% of the time they're scoring touchdowns in the red zone. Alabama has 29 red zone trips, 22 touchdowns. That's 76% of the time. I didn't do the math on this one. You might have to help me. LSU has 16 red zone trips and 10 touchdowns. So let me do the math there. So 10 over 16, and we reduce that to 5 over 8, and then we divide 8 into 5.0, which is 6 is 48, drop down to 2. Okay, that's 63% of the time that LSU is scoring touchdowns in the red zone. We get to Tennessee, 12 trips in the red zone, 8 touchdowns, 67% of the time. And then we've got Georgia, 10 touchdowns and 17, so that's 59%. So Florida, Alabama, LSU, Tennessee, and I didn't look up anybody else. I didn't bother. I just said I want to know what are some of the top teams doing in the red zone compared to Georgia, and they're doing better. And did you know with red zone efficiency and scoring, Georgia's only 11th in the SEC. Third down conversion rate, Georgia's 8th. These are alarming numbers. Stetson Bennett 8th in QB rating. This is bad. If you didn't have the number 1 defense at Georgia, I don't know that you'd be a 500 team. I don't think you'd beat our. I mean, if you didn't have the number, and you do have the number 1 defense at Georgia, make no mistake about it. It's not even close. You know, in fact, I saw a study. The average star rating of the Georgia starters is better than any program in the country. The average years of experience at Georgia is better than any program in the country. And yet here we are seeing Georgia come off a game where they gave up 564 yards, the most yardage given up by a Georgia football team since 2013. I don't even know who was the defensive coordinator before Pruitt. You guys know that. I haven't even bothered to look it up. The most yardage a Kirby Smart defense has given up since he was at Alabama in 2014. Okay? On national television in a 2 versus 3 game. These guys were absolutely humbled and humiliated. And it has marinated for 2 weeks. And I'm going to say, this is my podcast. They're pissed off. All right? And Kirby's pissed off. I'm telling you. I know this. I've watched this team. I do the calls, the Zooms. I've followed Kirby closely. That's an angry football team, folks. Okay? It's a very angry football team that cannot wait to get back on the field tomorrow in Lexington. All right? But the defense can only do so much. Now, this Joey Gatewood kid that they're starting, I feel bad for him. This is not a game. You know, it is and it isn't, all right? On the one hand, it's not a game where you want a guy to make his first start. Now, Gatewood is 6'4", 230, This kid is the bomb. He's athletic. He's got a big arm. He can do some things. Kentucky's got a very experienced offensive line. But Georgia's bringing it, man. This defense is going to bring it tomorrow. They're going to get after this guy, all right? Now, they got to be careful not to give up the big play. That's the only way, to me, that Kentucky's got a shot. And turnovers. The Georgia offense has to run the ball efficiently. The one thing Kirby said on his coach's show that worried him about, he didn't say worried him, but he said what they do best is defensively. Their edge rushers are very good. They bring a lot of different looks defensively. You don't know what they're going to do. So the answer to neutralize that is a good run game. Stay ahead of the chains. Don't put yourself in down and distance. Don't put Stetson Bennett in predictable situations where they can pass rush and raise their hands and bat down 5 more passes like Alabama did. So this is my public service please share announcement. I've kind of had a little bit my opening monologue, I guess that's what we call these things, has been a little bit longer than planned. Kind of got off on a tangent or 2 or 5 or 6 or 8. Which is what we do on Friday Night Mike, which is just what we do. Somebody said to me the other day, hey man, I heard that show you do, a lot of people watch it. You got a great audience. They all share it. What do you do? I said, I sit in my chair and I talk to them and we just talk. We talk about football. We talk. And, in the summer, we talked about COVID. And we talked about how we were getting by, and we talked about what we thought the team was going to do. And, que sera, we all kind of needed each other because we were all shut down. Well, here we are again. We're getting shut down again. The football season started. There's a lot of angry Georgia fans, disappointed Georgia fans, because what looked like a championship season has some warts to it now. There's some questions that haven't been answered yet. And the head coach isn't answering them. Now, let me say this. I've got a lot of respect for Kirby Smart. I mean, when I cover a team, I think people have a misconception about what a beat writer's relationship is with a team. And you don't become a fan of the program, okay? But you respect the people that you cover. They're there for a reason, okay? Kirby Smart's a good football coach. Those players are good football players. And I've told you this before, to be at Georgia, you got to be special. Nobody on that team's there, is a favorite to anybody, all right? You got to be special to be a part of the Georgia football program. The recruits are elite. I mean, it really, truly is an elite football program. So there's a respect there, right? I respect Georgia football. I respect Sanford Stadium. I still to this day, I don't know why you would ever take a game away from that stadium. It's one of the most beautiful game days in college football. Athens, the downtown, is like nowhere else. Let's hope all those merchants can stay open, even though they keep giving away the Florida game and pissing away all that money they'd be making. Maybe you might even have an airport if you would have made all that money on the Florida game all these years, and you would have had Florida people flying in for it. How about that? But no, tradition, okay. How good is that tradition? They're not even going to pay you everything they're supposed to pay you this year. Did you know that? They're not paying what they had originally said they would pay this year for Georgia to go down there and play in Jacksonville. And everybody's like, well, okay. I mean, anyway, all right, off of that tangent. I know there's some people that like the game in Jacksonville, so I'm going to get off that now. I'm going to make some shares. Hold on, let me go down here. Only 9, come on guys, 9 shares? Share this thing. We gotta go, we gotta go. We wanna keep this show on Friday nights. I'm gonna keep the show on Friday night. I want to. Enough people watch it? Yeah, sure enough. All right, so let's put the headline in there. You can put, who is this crazy guy talking football wearing a Kentucky color shirt tonight? I knew you guys were gonna get on me about that. I just want you to know, I purposely put on this Nike thing over the shirt because it does look kind of Kentucky blue, but it's actually like a sky blue. It's actually lighter. It's really not Kentucky blue. It's the lighting. It's the lighting in the room. It's not Kentucky blue. I don't wear school colors. It's just a nice Adidas long sleeve, like one of those breathable shirts. And we're in that weather, like when I went out earlier and exercised, that was what I needed. So. And I just didn't change because it's Friday Night Mike. and we're all chilling, and I don't get dressed up, and I don't put on a sport coat and a tie. Not yet, at least. Okay, talking football on a Friday night with some close friends. How about that? You guys be my friends? Tonight, you're my close friends. We're all sharing our time the night before Halloween. This is Devil's Night. Devil's Night. Remember Devil's Night? Devil's Night, that's not good. Is there still Devil's Night? So what did Devil's Night mean for you? Let's not go there. We're not going to talk about, let's not talk about smashing pumpkins or toilet paper in houses. I don't even know if they do that stuff anymore. You know what? Now they can't, because everybody's got their ring thing. Not that I'm interested in toilet paper in anybody's house, but now that you've got this ring thing, that everybody's got like you can find out what dogs are going to the bathroom in your lawn with this thing. This is like a big thing in neighborhoods to have ring, you know. Like, oh yeah, I caught him. I saw whose dog that was. How do you know it was the dog before? Because it was the same size doggy doo-doo. And it's been them all along, right? All right, so ring thing, stopping toilet paper. No more just shenanigans on Devil's Night. Let's see. I'm sharing this right now. I'm sharing this, and then I'll get back to our Georgia football talk, I promise. And I'll look at your comments because you guys light it up in here. Sometimes I miss some comments. Sometimes it's better that I do because sometimes the conversation goes off the rail. But that's part of the fun of it. It's Friday night. We do whatever we want in here, right? And we do. And we talk about stuff, you know. So Kirby Smart. So why isn't Kirby Smart addressing this quarterback thing? To me, that's the great mystery here. Isn't that there's a quarterback situation or that one quarterback's not playing because he may not be injured. The great mystery to me is why doesn't Kirby Smart address this? Like he said on his radio show on Thursday night, I listened to the replay, and they do a great job. Kirby does a great job with the show. He's very intelligent guy. You listen to Kirby, he explains football. And if you're a Georgia fan, you can really feel plugged in because I think Kirby, more than most coaches, lets you know what's going on with the program and explains things. I mean, he gets into some X's and O's, but just enough for you to understand it. He's a great communicator. He can be entertaining. I think he's funny. I think he's sassy. I like his sarcasm. I like his dry humor. But why isn't he giving us more detail on the quarterback situation? That's the thing that's got all the Georgia fans upset. Can you just tell us what the heck is going on, man? Right? Everybody wants to know what in the world is going on. How can you have a guy come here from California and he's good enough that the guy from Wake Forest leaves after one scrimmage and you think you got him working with the ones, you think he's the starter, and the next thing you know, he's not cleared for the opening game. Okay, we get it. So you start Dwan Mathis, he's next man up. Dwan plays 6 series, looks kind of shaky. You bring Stetson in, and Stetson gets it done and lights it up, and it's 37-10, and we all leave that game impressed. Okay, now we're ready. Okay, Monday comes, JT Daniels is cleared. Okay, so it's going to be, no, Stetson Bennett. But wait a minute. The guy that was number 1 at the start of fall drills is cleared to play, but Stetson's going to start against Auburn. Yeah, okay. Well, okay, maybe the guy that's not, he'll bring him in and he's going to give Stetson the start. And as long as Stetson does well, he's in. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That's fair, Okay, well, Stetson does good. They beat Auburn up 24-0 at half or whatever, 24-3. Well, Stetson did okay. There was no reason to make a change. Okay, all right, so that's cool. It's a long season, 8 games left. Stetson gets done, he gets it done. They beat Auburn comfortably. And now you got Tennessee on deck, right? Is that right? No. So it's Arkansas, Auburn. Am I missing a game in here? They played 4, right? Yeah, Tennessee. So now you got Tennessee. Okay, it's Tennessee week. JT Daniels and Dwan Mathis is going to be a quarterback change. Maybe. Let's see what happens. No quarterback change. You go, well, they just keep winning. So now you got 7 games. And you think maybe, JT takes his knee brace off before the Tennessee game. Now you're going, wait a minute. JT Daniels is taking off that knee brace. He must think he's ready to play. So you ask Kirby about, oh yeah, they're all doing good. Every one of them. Yep, they're doing great. Oh, well, that's the answer you're going to get. Love them all. Okay. So you go to Alabama. Now, this is the game, right? This is the one. If they get in trouble, Kirby's going to be, right? Because, this is where JT's going to come in if they get in trouble and win. That's what we're thinking, right? No, doesn't happen. 3 interceptions, shut out in the side. Doesn't happen. Okay, so now you're thinking, all right, now you're going to the bye week. This is what Kirby's been waiting for. Is the bye week. This is when you make a quarterback change, right? So you're going to let them both play on the first team. And what do you mean no? It's going to be all Stetson with the first team? Yeah. Okay, well, he's still what? Maybe the second week or the week. And Kirby, no, Stetson's our quarterback. So what's going on? Because you got Florida next week. Let's be honest. Most of you think you could play quarterback and beat Kentucky and Lexington tomorrow, right? You think you can handle it. It's really not that easy. That's overdoing it. But let's be honest. We're not expecting Georgia to need a whole lot of offense to beat Kentucky. But against Florida, and I know Georgia fans are still a little jumpy when I say Florida because Spurrier tormented you and, this is a rivalry game and you hate Florida so much you can't even stand the thought of losing. But if you might need JT Daniels against Florida, then shouldn't you get him some work against Kentucky? And aren't we starting to feel like Charlie Brown and Lucy every time we start talking about JT might play, and then they pull the ball away and he doesn't play and you go, what just happened here? We're running out of season, man. Is the guy going to play or not? And if he's not, then can you tell us why? Can you tell us that Stetson Bennett is better than JT Daniels? Can you say that? Can you not say that? And is Dwan Mathis anywhere in this mix? Is he going to get another chance? Is he going to get a package? Is he going to get a red zone possession, a wildcat carry? I mean, you play all these other guys everywhere else. Why the heck aren't we seeing any other quarterbacks? So this is what I'm leading up to. It's like something's missing here. Like there's something that we're all missing here. Kirby Smart has the answer. Why won't he tell us the answer? Now, this is where I got to tell you, the relationship between the beat guy and the coach. He's usually right. Every time I've questioned a Kirby Smart decision, upon closer introspection or investigation, there's an answer. And you go, aha, that's why Kirby didn't tell us, or that's why Kirby did it. I'll give you an example. Just because it's the night before Halloween and it's trick-or-treat time. The fake punt. I'm going there. The fake punt against Alabama. People said, oh, that didn't make any sense. Oh, what a terrible call. Oh, why would you do that? Kirby, why would you do the fake punt against Alabama? Well, I found out why. I talked to some players. I talked to Jason Stanley about it. I talked to the long snapper about it. Did you know that they practiced that fake punt every single week and had it down to a science? Did you know that they used a formation for that fake punt that they had never put on the field before? Did you know that they didn't even care that Alabama recognized it because they knew that it was going to be open? And did you know that if the ball was snapped immediately, 2 guys were going to be open? And did you know that if Justin Fields waited in the pocket, McCole Hardman would be wide open and still be running? Did you know any of that? Probably not. Because the commentators, well, that's just a bad call by Kirby Smart. What was he thinking? Well, you don't know, commentators. What you don't know is Georgia drilled that play for 2 years. And 1 year with Justin Fields every single week. So they could do it in the dark until he didn't. At the biggest moment of the year, he froze. That's what happened. Well, why didn't Kirby say that? He did. He said we had a guy open, but he's not going to drone on and on about it. Why not? Because he wanted Justin Fields to stay at Georgia. And he tried to get him to stay at Georgia. Justin Fields was in the portal and said, I'm in the portal. but I want to go to the Sugar Bowl. And Kirby said, okay, sure, we'll bring you because we want him to stay. And Kirby said, we want Justin Fields to stay. You go back and read about it. He was begging for him to stay. Please stay, compete, play, stay. No, Justin didn't want to stay. He wanted to go somewhere else. And he did. And he's doing great. And it's nobody's fault. Okay? Because Kirby's not going to go, you know what, Jake? You're fired. You're gone. I know that you threw for over 300 yards in the SEC championship game that we just lost 35-28. And I know you led us to a national title game. And I know you run this offense better than anybody. But, no, that's not how it works. You stay and you compete. So the way that played out, the people that only go surface value, right? The people that their logic goes about this deep, right? Those people right there that keep preaching the same thing because they've never really investigated what happened, right? They say, oh, that was a mistake. How do you let them go? But the people that have done the research, that have done the deep dive, that have read everything, that have watched everything, they go, yeah, we see what happened. All right, there's going to be an explanation for this Stetson Bennett thing. Now, we're not there. We're all right here. None of us have done the deep dive, all right, because Kirby hasn't told. But there's a reason. There is a reason. There is always a reason with Kirby Smart. The guy doesn't leave anything to chance. He doesn't leave any stone unturned. I'm not saying he's perfect, okay? He makes mistakes. He got out-schemed by Alabama, right? That Steve Sarkisian, all that motion Alabama was doing, okay, that confused the Georgia DBs. They'd never seen receivers that fast or that good in a long time. All right, probably since LSU last year. They hadn't seen it this year. They don't practice against it, that's for sure. So I'm not saying he's perfect, but I'm saying Kirby always has a reason. And I can't wait to find out what that reason is. What do I think? What I think is he wants to make sure that when JT Daniels does take over, that he's ready, that he is razor sharp, ready, that there is no doubt in the mind about the knee, that he is hungry, that he goes out there. Nothing was handed to him, right? And he also wants to make sure that he gives Stetson Bennett every single opportunity that he possibly can. And I think he's been fair to this guy. And I think he wants to give Dwan Mathis every opportunity that he can. And that he's fair to that guy. There's a lot of responsibility. And the thing that makes it tough is that unlike any other position, except for kicker, you can only put one guy out there. Right? At other positions, you can kind of sub them in and out. Different linebackers, slip a corner in, a different safety. They're playing 4 running backs. There's 3 primary receivers, but, we see Marcus Rosemy out there now and then. D-Rob still gets a few snaps. Whatever happened to him, I don't know. Jermaine Burton looks like he took his job. Matt Landers is a little banged up right now. You see 3 different tight ends, different offense. Everybody else, but quarterback, you can only play one. And and the magnifying glass is on, man, at Georgia, right? Because we look at the rest of this team and we say, all they need is a quarterback. All they need is a guy that can use the entire field. All they need is a guy that can get the ball to George Pickens. George Pickens, I did this stat. George Pickens, 13 catches, 130 yards in 4 games. He had 12 for 175 in the Sugar Bowl, man. Did George Pickens forget how to play football? No. But he's a deep guy. He's a perimeter guy. And Stetson plays in a phone booth. He throws to the slot. He throws to the tight end. He throws to the running back. He throws everything within 20 yards of the line of scrimmage. I mean, okay, there's a fade to James Cook that had 30 air yards under it when Cook gets matched up with a linebacker. Alabama screwed up. Or there's that deep ball to Kearis Jackson that looked like a 9-iron, and Kearis had to run back, fall backwards to catch it on a 9-yard pass. Listen, nothing personal. The guy doesn't have an arm. He doesn't have a big time arm. He's got good mobility, but he doesn't find the open receiver either. I mean, this is a true story. I had, I'm not going to say who, I had another SEC quarterback's father call me today. And he said, Mike, I want your honest opinion. If my kid changes places with Stetson Bennett, could he win a Heisman Trophy? Maybe. That's what everybody's thinking, man. Everybody's thinking the same thing. There's nobody out there looking at this going, you know what? Actually, that could be a future NFL. Nobody's saying it. And this is the sad part. It started out as a great story. It started out where everybody was rooting for Stetson Bennett. And I hope most of you are still. But after the Alabama game now, there's a bad taste. And people are saying they want him out of there. And this is not a good place for a fan base to be. All right? You don't want to be rooting against your own guy. But I'm seeing the messages. I'm getting the calls, the text messages, and the fans are upset. How can Georgia have this guy out there? That's not fair to Stetson. Okay? He didn't come here as a starter. He didn't come here as a 5-star. All he's done is work his butt off to get as ready as he can to do all that he can to help the team. He can't help it that this is the city. He's going to do his best for you. He is doing everything he can. But there's a reason why nobody else offered him a scholarship in the SEC. It's not his fault. So this is putting pressure on him that he doesn't need. It's great that he beat Auburn. It's great that he beat Tennessee. He's exceeded my expectations. But this is like having Prather Hudson as the starting tailback. Hey, I love Prather Hudson. He works hard. But would you start him over Kendall Milton? And then Kirby says what they really need to focus on is what everybody else is doing around the quarterback, and that people just like to talk about quarterback. It's really not that simple. I think all of you would much rather be talking about the wide receivers or the offensive line. Wouldn't you rather that be the problem? Or the third string corner? I think we'd all, as people that all benefit when Georgia wins, I don't think we really want to talk about the quarterback, Kirby. I really don't think we do. So, but here we are. It's the day before Kentucky. And I wonder, is there anything that Stetson Bennett can do to please you tomorrow? Honestly. If he throws for 300 yards, do you feel good about it going into the Florida game? And then let's take it one step farther. This is where it touches the nerve. If you're feeling this way, and if the experts, analysts, now Kirby doesn't care about that. I'm just going to be clear. All he cares about is what he sees and what his coach. But there's questions in the locker room. And that's where there's a problem right now. The head coach knows this. There's nothing he misses. There is nothing Kirby Smart misses. All right? I don't know if you all know this that are watching, but here in Athens, when I moved here, if I heard it once, I heard it 10 times. They said, "It's good, Mike. Hey, welcome to the beat. You just need to understand something. Kirby hears everything. He's everywhere." I said, "What do you mean by that?" He hears everything and he knows everything. That's what they told me. I said, every time I turn around, hey, let me tell you, Kirby knows everything. I said, okay. I don't have anything to hide, I promise. No, I'm telling you, he knows everything. Okay, I got it, all right? Kirby's going to hear about this tonight. Somebody's going to tell, hey, you know what happened on this podcast tonight? Kirby hears everything. Now, does he have time to care? No, he doesn't care. He really doesn't care. He would laugh out loud, like not happily, but in that sarcastic, mean laugh that he gets about, you guys can ask me anytime you want, but I ain't answering. That's where he's at with this. He is focused on Kentucky. He's focused on what's got to happen tomorrow to win in Lexington, and that's it. You can take your quarterback controversy and shove it, because Kirby Smart ain't got no controversy, all right? Him and his coaching staff are going to decide who to play, and that's that. There is no controversy beyond that. Okay. But if we're sitting here in 8 days after a Florida loss and we haven't seen JT Daniels yet, I don't even want to think about it. That's what we're all worried about. That's what everybody at Georgia's worried about. Is this going to come back and bite Georgia? I don't know. Only the head coach knows that. And there's a reason. That's the thing that gets me. The thing that gets me as a beat writer, as a reporter, and believe me, I have done everything reasonable and above board with integrity to try to understand this. And I can't make heads or tails of it. There's more to the story here. I think it's very complex, and I think it's something that has to be rectified quickly if Georgia's going to be a championship team. Simple as that. Simple as that. So we've talked about the Georgia quarterback situation. We probably went into more detail than we needed to. Might have even hurt some feelings. Probably said some things that I shouldn't have. Kirby's going to find out about it. Kirby knows everything. It is what it is. We're talking football on Friday night. It's what we do. Hey, by the way, Carson Beck is making the trip to Lexington. What does that mean? Did they bring 4 quarterbacks? Or did somebody else not make the trip? Bum, bum. I don't know. Because Georgia doesn't give you the dress list. Even after the game starts, you got to kind of have your binoculars. I'm going to have to dial into Brad and Adams tomorrow and say, hey, I heard Beck's there. Do you see number 2? Do you see number 18? Is there something we don't know? Did somebody have COVID? Or did Kirby just leave somebody at home? Is there going to be somebody in the portal Monday? We don't know. Isn't that fun? We're having fun now. It's Friday Night Mike. We're having a blast. Because we don't know what the heck's going on with the Georgia quarterback situation. We're halfway through the year. They're ranked number 5 in the country. And we can't tell you who's going to be a quarterback in the second quarter. And we don't know why. You follow football. You read every preseason magazine. I go on every Zoom conference. I've done this stuff 30 years. Kirby's got an algebraic equation in front of me. What was that movie? Good Will Hunting? Will Hunter? What was that? I can't even. He couldn't solve this. He couldn't solve it. It's the great Kirby mystery. But Kirby's, like I said, there's going to be a reason. This is all going to make sense in the end. It's all going to make sense in the end. So I got myself in a little bit of trouble this week doing the Paul Feinbaum show. And it was Thursday. I go on Thursdays. We have our Thursday night cover 4, which we do. Man, we do an hour. Me and Brandon and Connor and Jeff. And we let it all air out on our cover 4. I hope you guys watch that show. It's my favorite show of the week. I have so much fun with my teammates. We fight like brothers. We talk about everything. BA is hilarious. You get him in these moods, and Jeff is just, you guys pick on Jeff. You say he's got McDonald's Wi-Fi, which just makes me laugh because he's got the best Wi-Fi he possibly can, but he's got like the worst luck. I think his kids are draining the Wi-Fi somewhere else now, but we have a blast, and Connor can turn it on. He can get so serious, and then he can be so funny, and I just never know. But before that, I do a little 15-minute warm-up with Feinbaum on the SEC Network, and we stumbled into the Alabama conversation. And I had talked with a couple coaches earlier in the day about Waddle being on the kick return team. I said, how do you got this guy, the most dynamic playmaker on your team, running back kicks? This has got to be the dumbest thing I've ever seen. You want to lose this? You want to risk this guy? Did you need that guy back there? Did you really? You're a 4-touchdown favorite at Tennessee. You really need Waddle back there on kicks? How about last year? You're up 35-7 on Mississippi State, and Tua's got a bad ankle, and you got him running around out there with a 35-7 lead? What are you thinking? And he gets hurt? And then nobody's going to say it? Nobody's going to say, you know what? Saban might have just cost himself a college football playoff appearance with that Tua injury. Who said that? Don't say that. You know how many national championships Nick Saban's won? You can't say that. You can't say that Nick Saban made a mistake, Mike. Are you crazy? No, I watched him when he coached Michigan State. He makes lots of mistakes. All coaches make mistakes. There's 90 plays in a game. They make mistakes. I think it has to do with arrogance. Does Saban realize we really don't have anybody else like Waddle. No, I don't think he does. But, I think he's going to find out. Because I think if Georgia plays them again without Waddle, I think the defense is going to play him a little different. All right? They were already going to play him different. Georgia already had the intangible edge with a rematch, okay? Like Richard LeCounte said, it's just a little bump in our road. I love Richard LeCounte. It's just a little bump in our road, he says about the Alabama loss. These guys can't wait to play. But they gotta win these other games first. We're all going, wait a minute, Mike. That's Alabama. Don't talk about that yet. You still gotta beat Florida. You do. And tomorrow, folks, we're going to learn what Georgia's going to have to do. We're going to learn tomorrow if they need a quarterback change. That's what we're going to need. That's what we're going to learn. Because Kentucky is going to challenge Stetson to throw it deep. And if they struggle against Kentucky on offense, Kirby's got to push the button. He's got to push the button, right? Presuming JT Daniels is healthy, which we think he is, because he took his knee brace off, and Kirby said he's moving around and he's more mobile. And the tight end Trey McKitty said we hope to have him on the field soon. The game tomorrow is at noon, for someone asking there. Man, we've had a lot of fun tonight, haven't we? We've had a lot of fun tonight. Georgia's 13th in the SEC in completion percentage. Did you know that? Like I said, I write these notes down all week long. Kind of my cheat sheet here. Yeah, so the Alabama fans, they're all upset because I called out Saban and said that I think they took their championship hopes took a hit without Jalen Waddle. I don't know why that's such a revelation. A team loses their most dynamic playmaker and their chances aren't as good at winning a title. Oh my gosh, that's just the most brilliant crazy thing you've ever heard, isn't it? I mean, it's just common sense. Like people go, oh man, I love it. You go on there and you say all this stuff. I don't say anything that we don't say here. We're talking about common sense, man. Oh my God, did you really say Georgia needs a quarterback change to win a national championship? Yeah. Did you watch the second half of the Alabama game? Usually when you don't score points for 30 minutes at a time, it means you need to make a change. Not exactly like the most ingenious observations here. But the fact that I say them seems to just get everybody scurrying for the woods here. I mean, it's not like I'm saying anything that you all don't already know yourself, or wouldn't turn to your girlfriend or your son or your friend and say, that Waddle injury, that's their best player. That might have really hurt their championship hopes. Did you just say that? What? Excuse me, am I within the Alabama state lines? Because the other 49 states can say it out loud. Apparently in Alabama you can't. Wait a minute. You know how many national championships Saban won? Yeah. Okay, well, do you know what you just said? Yeah, I said they lost their best skill player and their chances went down. They got another guy just as good. Matter of fact, they got 3 or 4 guys just as good. Okay, got it. Strange. The week before, I go on Twitter, looking up these stats, and I say, this Jared Garantano guy, he was 11 of 13 in the first half against Georgia. He's better than people think. I look at Twitter and I see all these fans at Tennessee talking about how bad Jared Garantano is. And I just type on Twitter, Tennessee quarterback better than people think. And here come the Tennessee. What do you mean he's better than people? He's awful. Is there another fan base in the country, folks, when you say something nice about a player or a coach, that they tell you you're terrible? That they get angry because you said their coach is good or their player's good? I've never seen anything like it. That'd be like if you said to a mother, oh my goodness, you have a beautiful baby. Slap. How dare you call my baby beautiful? Who are you to say I've got a beautiful baby? Excuse me, I'm sorry. Am I missing something here? I said your quarterback is better than people think, and you want to debate me and say that he's not. I don't get it. This is SEC football, though. This is SEC football where speaking the truth qualifies as a revelation. It gets everybody excited. I don't know. All right, let me take a look at your comments. I've wound down. I've had my fun. I've had my comments on Friday Night Mike. I didn't really know where it was going to go tonight. I never do. That's the fun of it. right? I think that's why you watch. I think that's why I do it. I say, I need a stream of consciousness. I've done about 6 radio shows by now. Listen, you got to see the Monday night show this week, by the way. If you didn't see the Monday night Ingles on the Beach show, I promise you've got to watch that show. I had Hudson Mason on in the first half hour, quarterback in 24. I love this guy. 10-3, beat Clemson. I know he wasn't the greatest ever. Do you know he had the state record for passing, though? Love Hudson, love his takes. He was great. He talked about Bennett. He talked about JT Daniels. He said that, Kirby needed an offense. I thought he did a great job. In fact, Hudson is going to be on the call tomorrow for the Missouri-Florida game. There'll be a former Bulldog. Support Hudson Mason. I like this guy. I think he's a rising star. So he was the first half of the show. And then I had Matt Jones on from Kentucky Sports Radio the second half. And Matt was unbelievable. And he talked so much Kentucky swag. It's like you don't like him until you realize that you do, right? I have that problem. Like sometimes there's a lot of you. Go ahead, admit it. You'll say, I didn't like Mike at first. And then I learned to live with him, right? But honestly, the first time you kind of go, I didn't like him at first. But then you stick around a while and you go, this guy's kind of growing on me. It's kind of funny. I'm having some fun with it. And Matt was that guy on Monday night. So we had a really good show and really enjoyed it. I know you guys have been reading DogNation.com. You probably saw Centel's got a story up. There was a commitment tonight. Awesome news. Here's something funny I found out listening to Kirby's broadcast again. So there were pictures of Kirby Smart at the Brock Vandergrift game against Athens Academy last Friday night. And I saw that and I'm going, now wait a minute. Kirby just did an interview 2 days ago saying that he can't go to any high school games. And now he's got this mask on and he's standing under the goalpost with his visor way down. And I'm saying, did Kirby get caught? Was he not supposed to be at this game? Because he just told us the night before on his coach's show that he's not allowed to go to any games. So I didn't write it. I thought, maybe I should call the compliance department and say, hey, did you guys, I'm going, Kirby Smart's not going to make a mistake like that. So how does, like I told you though, Kirby, there's always an explanation. So he explained on his coach's show this week that as long as you have a family member that's a part of the program, if you have a kid on the team or a family member who's a part of the program, that you can go to the event. His son's a ball boy for Athens Academy. That's how Kirby Smart was allowed to be there at that game. His son is a ball boy for Athens Academy. And that's what got him in the stadium to be able to be around Brock Vandergrift, even though coaches aren't allowed to be on campus and recruit. Listen, his son's a great football player. Oh, excuse me. Pollock was talking about his son being a great football player. Apparently, Kirby's kid can really ball out. He's a young kid, 8 or 9 years old. Could Kirby have known before the season, hey, I need you to be a ball boy for Athens Academy. This is how I'm going to see. Surely not. Would he be that count? Would he go? No. Kirby himself was a ball boy and used to love high school football. That was his thing. So when you talk to Kirby about famous coaches and things like that, he knows them and he obviously reveres them. But when he talks about it, he was a big high school football fan as a kid growing up. That was what meant a lot, because his dad was a coach, right? So I always thought that was really cool, that Kirby was into high school football. He's such a throwback. That's why it's fun for me to cover him. Yes, he's only 44 years old, but Kirby he's 44 years old going on 80. And, I covered Gene Stallings and I still talk to Coach Stallings. Coach Stallings, I want to say he's 85. Is that right? Let's see. He retired. I covered Stallings' last game in the Outback Bowl in 96. It was January 1st, 97. They beat Michigan and Brian Greasy. And I want to say he might have been 60 then, 23 years ago. 62 maybe. So he's about 85. But when I talked to Coach Stallings, and I asked Coach Stallings questions, to this day I still talk to Gene Stallings, he's on the same line as Kirby. The philosophy is very same. Now, Kirby's changed in many ways. Kirby's evolved. He's not that old school. But when I hear him talking about the players and the principles of the game and what matters to them and the way they go about their business, there's a lot of similarity. They're both former DBs, right? I think there's probably something to that. The way a DB coaches a game as a head coach. I covered D'Antonio. I see a lot of the same philosophies from Mark D'Antonio in Kirby Smart in terms of how they manage the quarterback situation, how they give the quarterback rope. You got to really earn the trust. Jake had Kirby's trust. That's probably the biggest thing. He was a coach on the field. Again, more stuff people don't know. Like the people that go, I think Stetson Bennett's as good as Jake Fromm. Just leave the room right now. Don't even answer it. Don't even type a message and embarrass yourself if you're one of those people. Don't do it. I promise. Don't do it, okay? What made Jake great was that he could call plays at the line of scrimmage. If you watch most players, especially young players, they clap their hand and they look to the sideline. Okay, do you know why they do that? Because when they clap their hand, the defense, if they're disguising their coverages, they've got to be ready to go on that first clap. So whatever the defense is doing, they're going to show their hand. When they look to the sideline, the coach reads that and signals into play, and then the player calls the play now. All right, well, I've done that. Okay, Jake was ready to go. He could read an audible. And I had a Baylor safety tell me this when I was at the Combine last year. I said, what? I said, yes. I said, because these guys didn't have a fish to fry. They didn't know where I was from. I said, you played a lot of great quarterbacks. What did you think about Georgia's Jake Fromm, right? Oh, man, this guy said, he's good. He's really good. I said, what made him good? What made him so good? Because I had the same questions you did, right? Jake couldn't really run that fast. He has good NFL arm strength, by the way. I mean, it's adequate. It's not strong, but it's not weak either. There's a mile per hour chart you can go find if you Google it and see that his arm strength's good enough for the league. Not a strong arm, but good enough. He said the deal with Fromm was he could call the plays. So if he goes to the line and Georgia's got the right play called and has the advantage, he just goes. And if Georgia doesn't have the right play called, he can audible to the right play. That's why last year, Georgia was number 2 in the SEC in red zone efficiency because they had a coach on the field. This year, they're number 11 in red zone efficiency, all right? That's the difference that a quarterback who can read the defense can make for you. There are advantages to it, right? And that's what he did well. So there's a difference, okay? Stetson's still learning. His arm strength's not as good. He can't get through his progressions like Jake. And he doesn't have the accuracy. But he has better mobility, and the teammates love him and play hard for him. And right now, for whatever reason, Kirby believes he's the best guy to be under center. And I promise you there's a good reason. Okay? So we've had fun tonight. We've had a lot of fun. You guys got any questions for me before I go? I know there's always, and I do appreciate all the shares. I see all the people that are sharing the story. Thank you. It makes a difference. Got to get it out there to as many people as possible. Because when, at the end of the day, the boss says, what'd you do this week? And I say, well, I wrote this story, this story, this story. I did this video, this video, this video. And they look at it and say, well, what's the most productive thing? Do more of it and do less of what's not productive. Friday Night Mike has been productive because of you guys. Like I said, I get on here and I talk to you and I cut up and I have fun and it's a stream of consciousness. Like I said, I've done 6 or 7 talk radio shows already this week. I've done 3 or 4 videos. I've written 20 stories on the game. And it's Friday night, the night before the game, and I sit down and I say, where is my mind at? And what do I really want to tell these folks about? What stuck with me and what's sticking with me is I cannot wait to watch the Georgia offense in the first half and see how well they move the ball against Kentucky. I want to know if Kentucky can slow Georgia down. Because if they do, Houston, you got a problem. Now, here's some scary stats for you. Georgia, under Kirby Smart, is 2-3 in noon SEC games. 2-3. Now, 2 of those losses were 2016, but one of them was last year against South Carolina. Okay? 2-3 in noon SEC starts. Here's something else kind of scary. Georgia has yet to score any points on their opening possession of the game. They don't have any game opening drives for touchdowns. And in the game open, and in the drives that opened the second half, they've got 2 field goals out of 4 games. And one of them was when they recovered a fumble like on the 25-yard line, and they actually lost a yard. They've been a slow starting team. Will Kirby rectify that? Will that change tomorrow? I don't know. We got to wait and see. Desmond Lee, we're coming off a bye week, man. UK looked awful last game. Desmond, you're right, but Kirby said sometimes those are the most dangerous teams. But he said, and if you look at Kentucky, they've followed bad performances with good performances. They're not going to go in there against a team that's going to lay down and die. Kentucky, Stoops has not lost his locker room, and they've got a new quarterback starting, so there's going to be a new energy. Right? Pop goes the balloon, Mike. I don't know what that means, Jerry, but I like it. Adidas hat, Nike jacket. Well, Philip, I told you, the only reason I did this is because I had too much Kentucky blue on, and I realized it. And for a minute, I said, maybe I need to change it. I said, no, I don't need to change it. It's Friday Night Mike. These folks don't care. They visit with me every Friday night. They don't care if I'm wearing a blue shirt. Nobody's thinking I'm going to be pulling for Kentucky tomorrow. It's not even about that. I just wear a lot of blue. Don't most guys wear blue? You know why we wear blue? Do you know why we do that? Because it matches with everything. Okay? That's why. Because it matches with everything. That's why you wear blue. Why would you not wear blue? Uh-oh, Jerry's calling me out. No, I'm not drinking. Nicholas, I'm not a drinker, man. I've had about 3 cups of green tea. I like to mix in the black tea, the vanilla caramel black tea with my green tea, give a little flavor. I don't drink. I can't afford to wake up late tomorrow or wake up with a headache because I got a big day tomorrow. And it's kind of like you grow up an adult and I got a big day every day. The phone could ring and I may have to write a story. I can't be hungover, who can do that? Not in my business. And I'm not, for those that enjoy a beverage, that's cool. I get it. But that's just not me, that's not my thing. I've got, I'm sure I have some other bad vices. I eat too many tortilla chips, I probably eat too much salt or those chips are fattening. I could probably stand to lose 10 or 15 or 20 pounds, right? But yeah, the green tea's real. Steve Rogers says you better not wear blue next week. I probably won't. You know what I am going to do, though? What I am going to do, and I've avoided this, I'm just going to warn you. When I do the TV stuff and I wear a tie, one of the TV tricks is wear a bright colored tie. Bright colored ties look good. I've never worn an orange tie. At some point, not because of Florida and not because of Tennessee, but at some point I got to wear an orange tie. Just because it looks good. It will look good with a navy jacket. All right? So at some point that's going to happen. Just letting you know. Just because it's a color of the spectrum. Don't go crazy when it happens. Tennessee week's already gone. But at some point, you got to bring some. I wear pink. I wore red this week. At some point, orange is, but I've never worn orange. Never. Because I covered Tennessee. And you never wear the team that you color. Now, Georgia, you can't avoid because it's like a basic color. If you wear red, that doesn't mean because people wear red. But if you wear orange, wait a minute. It's like that green, that Michigan State green. You wouldn't wear that for any other reason, right? So I never wore green because I was in Michigan State. You cover Michigan State, don't wear green. All those little beat writer tricks. Just so you know, we care about those little things. Everybody's, no, orange, no. A red suit, oh my gosh, man. If this was Halloween night, I probably would have dressed up, but it's not. And we'll have to wait for another time, and we'll do something fun like that. But look, now James is going to kill me on the Duke. No, not blue because of Duke. Not because of any team. No, just because I wear different colored stuff. And blue matches everything. So, all right, guys. We had some fun tonight. I'm going to love going through these comments. I can already tell I'm looking at some of these. Francisco, I don't even know where that's going, man. I'm not sure I want to know. Benton, I'm with you. 15 carries for Milton sounds good. How many total yards rushing for the Dogs tomorrow? 273 maybe? What's Bennett going to throw for? I'm going to say he's going to throw for 263. I think we're going to see the magical balance of run and pass, the 37 attempts and 37 runs and, 250 this and 250 that. I think Georgia wins this game 34-10. Don't know if there's a quarterback change. Don't know. With a quarterback change or without a quarterback change, I got Georgia winning big. So thanks for joining me tonight. It was a blast. Now, halftime tomorrow, I'm going to give you a halftime report. I'm going to be good, just like I was the last 2 weeks. I told you before, at halftime of the Alabama game that turnovers would be the key. And I told you at halftime of the Tennessee game that they'd still win by 3 touchdowns. So I will have something prophetic to say at halftime tomorrow right here on Dog Nation. Everybody have a great Friday night. And if I don't see you tomorrow, be safe, be safe, be safe on Halloween. Be careful. Thank you.